Today we're going to assemble an MDC 3000 aquaponics system. First things first, we're going to go over the parts, starting with the gasket and the windows that get installed on the tanks. Next is the air manifold system. It regulates the air delivery. These are the air stones for the system, both the fish and mineralization. These are the air manifold mounts for the air lines that run to the tanks. These are the tank drains they'll install at the base of every fish tank. These are the uniseals and elbows for the tanks. These are the airlift pipes for each fish tank. In the back we have the slotted pipe that goes inside the fish tanks. These are some pipes for the endurance assemblies. On the right, we have our overflow plumbing, followed by the endurance inlet plumbing. And those are all the parts of the system. Now for the fun part, assembly. Here are our tanks and the quarantine system. Keep in mind the quarantine system is to keep your new fish and treat for any illness or disease that you may have before putting them into your main system. All right, beginning with subassembly number 2, part A, and a uniseal. This is pretty simple. You're going to set your uniseal with the flange out, and then you're going to take the ground end of the subassembly and push it into the uniseal. If this is difficult, you can use a mallet. White mallets are preferred because they won't leave scuff marks on your plumbing. We're now going to repeat this process on the other 2 tanks with the other matching subassemblies. Now we are going to work on the filter plumbing, starting with part E. Part E rests against the ground and the elbow will point towards the fish tank windows. Now for subassembly number 7. This is the inlet plumbing to the endurance filter. Dirty water comes into the filter from this inlet, and then clean water will flow out of the top of this filter back to the fish tanks. The water between the fish tanks and this filter are constantly recirculating so that your fish always have clean water. These joints will need to be glued with PVC glue. Remember to clean the joints first. Clean and well-glued joints will prevent any water leakage in the system later. Next, we have the filter outlet. This is subassembly 5, or part G. This is a threaded union fitting. It does not need Teflon tape or glue. Next, we have subassembly 6. This is an overflow pipe. This air release should discharge into your first fish tank. Now we're going to start airlift assembly, beginning with subassembly number 8. Don't forget your uniseals. Place 1 for each airlift assembly. Place the airlift assembly so that the T angles into the tank and the elbow overflows over the top. Now we're going to repeat that same assembly process with subassemblies 9 and 10. AST does not include the straight pipe that connects these tanks. You can pick that up at any local hardware store. This lets you custom select the distance you want between each of your fish tanks. Remember those 45-degree elbows? Those are used to direct the flow of water inside the fish tank. Simply place them over the tank inlet, angled as shown. Next, we're going to be installing the air manifold mounts. You should have 3 of these. Simply open them up and clip them to the PVC pipe in between the T and the overflow pipe. Repeat the process with the other two tanks and the manifold mounts. These are the parts for the air manifold assembly. Please consult our other instructions on how to assemble this. This system will allow you to control airflow to your airlifts. Now we're going to be installing our drain assemblies in each tank. This pipe is threaded so that it can be removed if necessary for cleaning. The slotted pipe can then be easily cleaned with a brush. This can remove debris or pond snails or anything else that might be interfering with your water flow. Ordinarily, the pipe should lie across the bottom as shown here. Next, we're going to install the sludge digester or mineralization tank. You need the small uniseal and subassembly 1. This clear pipe will let you see when solids are being discharged out of the endurance filter and into the mineralization tank. This pipe goes over the endurance sludge drain. Also remember that this joint should be glued. Now we're going to assemble the quarantine system. This little pipe that is labeled quarantine system goes on the 3-way valve at the base of the filter. This connection is threaded and should be wrapped with thread tape. When you are finished threading this, the elbow should point up in preparation for the installation of the next piece. This straight pipe should be cleaned and glued into place. Next, we need the submersible pump, subassembly 3 of the quarantine system. The end of this assembly is threaded and it will go on the submersible pump. Remember to wrap with thread tape. Now we're going to plop that piece with the submersible pump into the quarantine tank. This assembly hooks up to the upright pipes that we installed earlier, and these joints should be glued. Next we have subassembly 4. This is the filter outlet, so it installs at the very top of the filter. It will drain water into the quarantine system. All threads should have thread tape with the exception of unions. Materials should not be shared between the main system and the quarantine system. This includes nets. This could introduce disease to your main system, which you really want to avoid. The point of a quarantine system is to keep everything separate so that your main tank is not infested. If for some reason you have to use the same equipment, be sure to sanitize it before it comes out of quarantine and back to your main system. Thank you for purchasing an MDC system from AST. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you.